Hello, this is Laken Ahmed, the founder of Laken Leadership International and also the author of the new book, Finding Your Voice, Ultimate Guide to Unleash Your Full Potential and Live the Life That You Want. Now, the book is not out yet, but hopefully in the coming weeks, you should have it online, and I hope you can get a copy of that book. But the reason I'm here today is to share with you very vital ideas that I believe can help you achieve your goals in 2018. Ideas that would help you to transform from what you have now into what you hope to have before the end of the year. I believe that success, it's a continuous learning. We have to continue to spice our knowledge. We have to continue to add to our skills if we want to remain relevant in today's world, in today's economy. You know, one of the things I told myself at the beginning of the year is that, Laken, how can you be the best version of yourself? And as I think through this question, I said, well, the only way I can become the best version of myself is to provide my followers, is to provide anyone that I can help with quality education, with quality personal development trainings that would help them to achieve more success in their own lives. And that is exactly what my mission is for this year. And I'm excited based on the few videos that we've published this month. The feedback has been great. So thank you for taking the time to watch all of these videos. You remember, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for everybody who is willing to improve their skills and continue to achieve more goals this year. Now, I've always believed that the wealth of a nation is controlled by just 1%. 90% of the wealth of any nation is concentrated in just 1% of the population. Now, we can do 2%, we can do 3%, we can do 4%, we can do 5%. So my goal is, how can you be in that first 5% of the people that controls the wealth of a nation? First 5%, how can you put yourself into that category? You don't have to be one of those 1%, but if you can get to 5% of those people, you made it. That's all you have to do. And these ideas that I'm going to provide you today can help you to move towards that direction if you haven't started yet. I've always believed in leadership. Every single thing we do in our life falls under leadership, personal leadership. And I believe that leadership, it's an innate quality that everybody has. Now, there are people out there that said, leadership is not something that you already have, it's something that you have to develop. Some believe that leaders are made, leaders are not born. Some believe that leaders are born. Everybody is right. But my take is that leadership is an innate quality but needs development. Because one of the things leaders do is that we make choices. And if you think about it, from the very moment that we were given birth to, from that first cry to get attention, that is choice that we just made. Now, there are choices we made consciously, there are choices that we made unconsciously. But every single day of our lives, we make choices. And as long as we make choices, definitely we are a leader. We have that leadership tendency. However, we can always improve that leadership ability to ensure that our goals become what it should be for the year. And what I'm going to share with you is something that I learned from one of my mentors. And I will tell you, I paid a lot of money to learn this knowledge, to learn these skills. And I'm just giving you for free. I paid a lot of money to learn all of these things that I'm providing for you for free. Because my goal this year, my mission this year is to equip you with the right knowledge that you need to achieve your goals or whatever desire that you have, to make sure that you actualize that desire. Now, as I said earlier, that leadership, personal leadership is very important if you think about achieving your goals. Now, I know this is the beginning of the year that a lot of people think about, this is what I want for the year, this is the goal that I want, this is what I want to achieve. But how do you start creating goals? You have a goal, but how do you bring that goal into fulfillment? What do you need to do? What are the steps? How do you think? Because if you look at the top percent of those people controlling the wealth of a nation, they have a different thinking mindset to other citizens. They think in a different way. They process things differently. And if you want to be among that fresh 5%, definitely you have to think the way the 1% think. You have to think the way the 2% think. You have to think the way the wealthiest people in any country, the way they think. And the first point I'm going to share here is people support what they create. People support what they create. Now, you have a goal, right? And you're asking yourself, how do I make this goal a realistic goal for me? Of course, you can do it by yourself. You can begin to, strategize on how you can achieve that goal. But think in terms of if you find people that can help you that can help you create that goal, what happens? Not only will you have people supporting you along the way, but also the goal will be created faster because you found people that help you create that goal. I remember when I wrote my first book, Igniting Your Smart Plugs, 7 Secrets that would help you to change how you think and act. That book was a quick read in 22,000 words, 96 pages. It took me 7 solid years. Now, I wish I knew this. If I knew that people support what they create, maybe it would just take me a few months. Because all I have to do is find people that would support me in creating that book. Now, they don't have to help me to write it, but they can support me along the way. They can support me along the way. They can provide me with encouragement. They can provide me with resources. They can provide me with their own ideas. They can provide me with a lot of things that would have fastened the creation of the book. That is how I want you to think as you begin to think about your goals for 2018. Can you find people that would help in creating your goals for you? That would support you in creating that goal? One of the things I look at in organizations, for example, let's take Apple Computer, for example. I used to think that, Steve Jobs is late, but I used to think that Steve Jobs created all of those products. Of course, that's not true. He's the leader. He provided the vision and he found people to support in helping to create that vision. You get me? Just like Henry Ford. I don't know if you've read the story of Henry Ford, the Ford Motors. When Henry decided to create the famous V8 engine cast, he told his engineers, this is my vision. I want a V8 cylinder cast in one piece. That was the vision. That was the goal. And he found people to support that. Initially, they didn't believe that was possible. They rejected the idea. But eventually, they created it. Eventually, they supported the idea. Eventually, they helped Ford to create that V8 cylinder cast in one piece. Now, what are your own goals? As you begin to think about your goals, I want you to think in terms of this number one point. People support what they create. Find people that would help you in creating that idea. Share your ideas with them. One of the setback of especially entrepreneurs or people with ideas is we believe, sometimes we think that if we share our ideas with other people, they're going to steal it. But that's not true. You have to share your ideas with others if you want to move forward. You have to find those that you can call and tell them, this is what I'm thinking. How do I get there? And if they can support, if they can help you to create it from the beginning, trust me, they would support you along the way. All the way they would support you. Now the next point, the number 2 point is, now you might be thinking, oh, okay, how do I get these people? What do I need to do? How do I find them? Of course, you can employ your spouse. You can ask your brother, you can ask a family member to help you. But I want you to think in terms of hiring those who will carry you. I want you to think in terms of hiring those who will carry you. Like I said, there's nothing bad in asking your spouse to support you. There's nothing bad in asking your brother to support you. There's nothing bad in asking, maybe a colleague to support you, as long as they can complement the skills that you lack. As long as they can complement the skill that you have. As long as they can carry you along the journey. They can carry you to that promised land. When you think about achieving your goals for 2018, think, who can I hire? Who do I know that they are the best in what I'm trying to achieve? For example, I told you about this course, these ideas that I'm sharing with you now, that I knew these ideas before, but I wanted something different, and I asked myself, I said, Lakin, who can you find in your industry that is making the kind of money that you hope to make? And hire them to help you out. Now, it's very uncomfortable because it's a lot of money. It's very expensive. But because I wanted to make the kind of money they're making, so I decided to hire them to help me out. What about you? The goals that you want, the desire that you've hoped to achieve. Think, who can help me? Who can carry me along that journey? Who can take me to that promised land? They have to be the best at what you're trying to do. Because many times, a lot of people think, think in terms of competition. And they're afraid to find those who are doing better than they're doing. Because they feel that by hiring those who are better than they do, maybe those people would intimidate them. Maybe those people would laugh at them. But that's not true. Now, if you look at the top 2%, the top 3%, the top 5% controlling the wealth of a nation, they surround themselves with the best. You hear me? They surround themselves with the best. People that are more intelligent than they do. People that are more knowledgeable than they do. People that think better than they do. So as you think about your own goals too, begin to think, who can I hire that is better than me, that can help me, that can carry me along the journey towards my goal actualization in 2018. It might be expensive. It might be very expensive for you. But ask yourself, if you achieve that goal, what difference would that goal make in your life? I've heard stories of people who, just by achieving just one goal, their life changed. They had a full transformation in life. Their success was huge. What about you? Think in terms of hiring those who will carry you along. Carry, the key word here is carry. those that are intelligent than you, those that are more knowledgeable than you, those that have done what you're trying to do. They might be expensive, but find a way to reach out to them to help you to reach that next level. The next point is hire for guilt. Hire for guilt. Now, I want you to think in terms of maybe you hire someone or you're about to hire someone and you ask them, what have you done lately that you regret? And they said, I've never regretted anything in my life. Or maybe I did something that someone caused it. They shift the blame from themselves to other people. You want to run away from those kind of people. Anybody that doesn't accept personal responsibilities, you should run like a gazette. You should run, just run away from them. Because if people that you are open to work with do not accept personal responsibility or do not feel guilty for not doing what you've asked them to do, or they made a mistake and they failed to acknowledge that, that's not a good team member. You have to hire those that feel guilty. And the only way you can find such people is to ask questions. For example, like I said earlier, ask them, have you ever done something that you regretted before? And when they answer with, I did this some few years ago or some few months ago, and I felt really bad because I knew I could have done better. That is the right candidate. Because they took personal responsibility. They didn't say someone caused it. They didn't shift the blame to others. They accepted that responsibility. They knew that they should have done better. They knew that they should have made a better decision. They knew that it's their own fault, and they accepted guilt. That is the kind of person you want to have on your team as you begin to think about your goals. As you begin to think about hiring or finding those that can carry you along the journey towards your goals or your desire in life, especially in 2018. Now, the next point that I'm going to share here is create a candid community. Create a candid community. Now, I have never seen any successful individual that does not have his own community. Because you cannot succeed by your own. You cannot. One of the advice that I got earlier as I began to go deeper in this field of personal development was you have to love people. People make you rich. People make you rich. You cannot become wealthy or richer just by being with yourself, just by patronizing yourself. You cannot succeed like that. You have to create your own community. You have to find a community that shares your ideas, that believe in you, that are willing to support you, that are willing to help you create whatever goals you have, that are willing to carry you along. You have to find a community. I wrote one of the chapters in my new book, Finding Your Voice, Ultimate Guide to Unleash Your Full Potential and Live the Life That You Want. I said something about that you have to find people who share the same interest as you do. And for me, for example, the reason I joined Toastmasters International was because Toastmasters help people to develop their communication skills and leadership abilities. And the only reason I joined was because there are other people just like me who came to Toastmasters for the same goal, to develop speaking abilities and leadership qualities. They share the same interests with me. They have the same speaking goals with me. And that is the only reason I joined that community, because we shared something in common. So as you begin to think about your goals, about actualizing your goals for 2018, think in terms of having a community, a candid community that can help you, that can support you in achieving the goals that you want for 2018. Remember, you cannot become wealthy by yourself. You cannot become rich by yourself. You have to love people. You have to deal with people. People will make you rich. The only reason musicians became wealthy was because people listen to their music. Do you think, no matter how great you are as a musician, if you listen to your own music by yourself, do you think you're going to be wealthy? Hell no, you won't. The only reason you will be wealthy is because other people love your music. And because they love your music, they listen to your music, they buy your music, and they make you rich. And they are your community. So think in terms of community. Find a community that can share your ideas, that can help you create your ideas, that can help support you in what you're doing. And from just doing that, definitely, you would create the goals that you want. You would achieve the desires that you want. The last point that I'm going to share here is leadership is about challenge. Leadership is about challenge. Now, when I say challenge, I'm not saying that you have to intimidate anybody. Remember, in your capacity as an individual, that you are a leader by default. That is my belief. Now, you have some other people that tells you leadership is something that you have to learn. Of course, you have to learn. You have to continue to improve your leadership skills and abilities. But I believe that every soul has a leadership tendency, because one of the qualities of a leader is to make choice. Is to make choices. And every single day, you can imagine how many choices we make every single day. A lot. That means we have that leadership tendency. So, leadership is about the challenge. Now, how do you challenge those that are willing to support you? Not by intimidating them, but by challenging them to help you out, by challenging them, by asking them questions that will trigger more creativity. Remember the story of Henry Ford. He challenged his engineers that this is my goal. I want a V8 cylinder in one cast. That was a challenge to his team. And that's what every leader does. You know, every leader that you think of, that is what they do. They challenge their followers. They challenge their people. So as you think about your goals for 2018, as you begin to create that goal, the team that you have, find way to challenge them to increase their creativity. Think in terms of how can you challenge your team members, not by intimidating them, but asking questions that would trigger creativity, asking questions that would help them to become more intelligent in what they're doing, asking questions that would help them to think better. That is what a leader does. So you can see that all of this point comes back to the first point, which is people support what they create. Because as you challenge your team, as you create that community, as you hire the people that feel guilty when they fail to do what they're supposed to do, as you hire those who carry you along, all of these help you to create the goals that you want for 2018. Now you can see that this is loaded. And the reason I decided to do this is because I want you and I to achieve our goals for 2018. I have my own goals, and I know you have your own goals. But without continuous education, without continuous fine-tuning what we want to achieve and finding ways on how we can achieve that, it might be impossible to realize what we want. Like I said earlier, that one of my major goals in 2018 is to provide resources for you to help you to reach that next level. I want to reach that next level. And I know you want to reach that next level. And in any way that I can help. Of course, mostly through these trainings to help you to achieve that goal. So every single day, I want you to go out there. As you think about your goals, as you plan and strategize, I want you to believe in the possibilities that regardless of what your circumstances are now, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of the problems you have, regardless of the challenges that you have, regardless of the difficulties, no matter what it is, I believe in you. And I trust in you. I know that you have the capabilities. I know that you have the skills. Maybe you only need a few advices, a few guidelines to help you to reach that next level. And that is exactly what we're doing here. So remember that at the end of our lives, what I believe really matters is, did we live full? Did we love across all differences? Did we learn all we could have learned? And did we leave a legacy? So, go out every day, live fully, love across all differences, learn all you could, and make sure that you leave a legacy. And remember, share this with someone and click the like button.